Hello and welcome to Talk Lit Get Hit, a podcast where we read questionable books recommended to us by social media and talk shit about them.
We're Bridget, Eryn and Laura, three friends who haven't mentally progressed since high school, where we bonded over a love of music and books, but mainly Twilight.
Brace yourself for a heady cocktail of somewhat highbrow and incredibly lowbrow ramblings about all the books the internet loves and our journey to figure out why.
Welcome to episode 1 of Talk Lit Get Hit. Woo!
Woo, ba, 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 ba.
Welcome to the show. This has been a long time coming. Probably a bit of a disclaimer for our first attempt at recording a podcast. This may be a little bit rough around the edges. We did try to record this in April.
Yeah, April.
And
it is now October.
And look, discussions were had, insights were made.
Good things take time.
Yeah, but in case you haven't listened to the first episode, we are Bridget, Eryn and Laura, three friends from high school, and basically we sent a lot of voice messages to one another, got really caught up in how funny we thought we were, and thought, yeah, we could start a podcast.
No, there's no thought about it, how funny we are.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Sorry, slip of the tongue. So the first book we are going to be covering is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas, a bit of a TikTok favourite. I think it's safe to say it's an internet favourite. It's the first place that I heard of it.
Same.
Or maybe I heard of it through Eryn. I don't know. It's all a blur.
No, you definitely knew about it before, because once I put it on my reading list, you were like, oh my God, I want to read it too.
Okay.
It was on your radar.
I heard about it from you guys, so always good to learn new things from friends, I guess.
Oh my God.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, but since then I definitely see where you guys got it from, because it is literally everywhere, and it has really a devoted fan base.
Very passionate.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, with that in mind, maybe we should say, the premise of this podcast is that we tackle the books that the internet loves, kind of with the expectation that we're probably not going to enjoy them, and they may not be written that well. But a book's a book. Any reading you do is good reading, and no hate. Please don't come for us.
The only thing I will say is that I don't go into these books expecting them to be bad.
Oh.
I didn't with these, and I don't expect it to be my favorite book ever, but I don't expect it to necessarily be bad.
Yeah, you're not going in with the wrong attitude.
Yeah, we're going in open-minded. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our minds are open like books.
I guess open-minded is good.
I guess we should maybe tell everybody what the book's about.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, we'll start off with a little spoiler warning. Obviously, we'll be discussing A Court of Thorns and Roses. If you're listening with young listeners, or if you don't like rude words, shield your ears, because there may be some rude words within.
Feyre is out hunting and kills a wolf with interesting eyes. Turns out it was a shapeshifter and not your average four-legged creature. Tamlin comes in and demands compensation for the death of one of his people, and Feyre goes to Prythian, or the Spring Court. He wants her to fall in love with him to break the curse that basically glues a mask on his people's faces, among other things. A bunch of other things happen, and eventually Rhysand bumps into Feyre.
Tamlin, the Spring Court, and Feyre are taken by Amarantha, our villain. If Feyre is either able to complete 3 tasks within 3 months or solve a hard riddle, Amarantha would free everyone under the mountain. Feyre completes the first task but gets injured while doing so. Rhysand heals her in exchange for a week of her time every month for the rest of her life. He tattoos her hand to seal the bargain. The second task is a riddle. The problem is, Feyre doesn't know how to read. Rhysand helps her once again, and another task is done. The third task is to kill 3 Fae. Yikes. Feyre kills 2 Fae and stabs Tamlin in the heart. He survives because he has an actual heart of stone.
Amarantha throws a temper tantrum, refuses to release anyone, and starts killing Feyre. At the very last moment, Feyre solves the riddle that instantly frees everyone, but then promptly dies. Because everyone is freed from Amarantha's magic, Tamlin is able to kill her, and all the High Lords come together to resurrect Feyre into a High Fae. Everyone goes back to their respective courts and lives happily ever after. Right?
The only thing I'm sad about that synopsis is that it completely brushes over Fiddlegate and everything we hate.
Lucky we dwell on it, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've borrowed the synopsis from the Awkward Book blogger and added a few embellishments. So thank you, Jessica, at the Awkward Book blogger. Okay, so we kind of set the scene with that synopsis. It provided us with a little bit of backstory, but there are definitely some characters that I feel like we need to discuss a bit more to set the scene. Maybe let's start at the beginning. Feyre and her horrible family.
Yeah, poor Feyre. She really lucked out with the family lottery. What's her dad's name?
Who cares?
Daddy Feyre.
She's got a father.
Yeah.
We call her Daddy Feyre. We might refer to him a few times as that. I'm not sure. But she has two sisters, Nesta and Elaine.
Both useless.
And Nesta is just really mean.
The worst.
Yeah, I think their names say it all, hey?
Yeah, that's true. Elaine is a bit of a pushover, I think.
She's sensitive.
I don't get it. They're always like, we love Elaine. Why?
I agree. I don't know why they like her because she's not nice to Feyre either.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much to say about them in this book apart from the fact that I don't think they're very nice people, and I understand that her family are all traumatized or have trauma to varying degrees, but I just think they're so unpleasant.
And I know we're going to talk about Feyre later a lot because obviously she's the main character. But oh god, she was annoying.
She's so annoying,
wasn't she?
Yeah, I think she was just like that classic chip on her shoulder. Nobody likes me, but everyone falls in love with me. Like, I don't know. It's hard to read.
When she gets to the Spring Court, Tamlin is the High Lord of the Spring Court, and just seems like a golden man.
He's a lad for sure.
Yeah, hot blonde fairy.
A little bit and antagonistic, bit flirty, but a bit
cocky.
Can't flirt at the same time. So
he's endearing because
he doesn't really know what to do.
Yeah,
he's always
making awkward moves.
Yeah, and then sort of getting cranky and then storming off.
Yeah, very high school enemies to lovers situation.
Yeah.
But it's helped by Lucian, who is the best wingman ever.
And our favourite, yeah.
Love him.
If he wasn't there, I don't think they would have ever gotten together.
I agree.
They would have just remained sulking and...
Absolutely.
So Tamlin and Lucian, I think we should also say, are Fae. And Feyre is human.
Oh, we probably also do need to mention... When we were messaging about this book, we did start calling Tamlin Tampon.
Which I think is common.
It was autocorrect.
I think that's common. People do that.
Oh, okay. That's so if we mention Tampon, that's who we're talking about. So Rhysand, we only meet him halfway through.
At Calanmai, right?
Like a sexy, mysterious, brooding, handsome, most beautiful person she's ever seen.
I guess the only other character is Amarantha.
Bitch.
I mean, there are other characters, but the main characters, Amarantha, who we do sometimes call Amanda Bitch.
Yeah, because we couldn't spell it.
We couldn't remember her name, and we couldn't
not remember.
So Amanda Bitch is the villain.
Yeah.
I could not, for the life of me, create a visual of her, and I just was picturing Cate Blanchett as Hela in Thor Ragnarok. That's all I had.
I pictured a redhead.
Oh.
I was thinking this might be a bit obscure. In Supernatural there was that redhead villain.
Yep, bitch.
Yeah. You know the one?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the vibe, right?
Not for me.
Oh. Well, fuck me, I guess.
Sorry, Eryn. It's a great job, Eryn. We'll definitely put that on the Pinterest board of...
Shut up. Shut up.
Well, how did you picture her, Bridget?
I can't remember.
Nah, nothing. Just a blank space.
Maybe a bit like Bellatrix Lestrange.
Ooh.
Oh.
Sort of that vibe, like wild hair.
Ah.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, maybe that's how I pictured it.
I liked her because she was just fucking shit up for really no reason. Like,
Yeah.
Her motives were unclear. She got her feelings hurt, basically.
yeah.
Her sister,
Bitch,
something about the
same.
sister. I really think that we can all agree on our most hated character. Like if we counted down from 3 and had to say the
Ooh.
name. Well, let's try that.
Okay.
For the first book, I'll say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll say the worst character that we think is the worst. Because I feel like we would agree, but maybe not.
Oh.
I have to think.
Yeah, this seems obvious to no one but you, but I'm happy.
I can't wait to see how this goes.
Okay.
I'm happy to
Try it out.
There's so many choices. Who do I choose?
I thought we were on the same page.
Okay.
Maybe we're not. Maybe we are.
I have like 3 options in my head.
Okay, I've only got one, honestly.
2 strong
Okay.
contenders for me.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Feyre.
Feyre.
Oh my god. Fuck that bitch.
Yeah, she's the worst.
Oh, Feyre.
She's so annoying. Who are the other options though?
I hated Alice. That's the handmaid.
Really?
What the fuck?
She did nothing to you. She had bark for skin. Did she? Remember when the glamour was lifted?
And she found out.
I found that was a lot to grapple with.
It was so funny because she was like, wait.
I've been
when I was,
creeping
like,
around.
Sneaking through the garden, everyone could see me.
She's like hiding behind columns and like army rolling along the ground.
That's right.
I wish, and like knowing that they're going to turn this into a TV show, I can't wait to see how they do that. If like when she has that revelation, it's like a cut scene to how it actually was. And her like forward rolling
Comedy
through
gold.
shrubs.
Yeah.
And like these like, I don't know, like rock people being like, what the fuck?
I believe you hated Alice.
Yeah, I hated her.
Who else did you hate?
Sort of. Oh yeah. Who else did you hate?
Did you have
my
another
other
one?
one was Nesta.
Oh, yeah.
Me
I
too.
hate
She was
her.
my
Horrible.
second choice. Very dramatic.
It is very dramatic.
I not to reference my 2 notes immediately, but that was like one of the first things I thought when I started reading it. For a little while before I settled in, I thought, oh God, maybe I can't get into it because it had that very dramatic style of writing that's like, it was quiet.
Yeah.
So quiet.
Too quiet.
Everything seemed okay, except it wasn't. Not even a little bit.
Every
At
part
all.
of me
Like,
knew
yeah.
something was wrong. One of my notes, I wrote big mother energy. Like, like so dramatic. Like, oh, guess I've got to go and find the wolf to feed my dumb family.
Oh, she's so passive aggressive.
Like, she's never happy. Like, just like, I don't have any paint. I've got to go find some food.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Sorry.
I will say, as I'm not a huge fantasy reader, so I always
Neither.
really struggle with world building.
Yeah.
But I really like that first scene where she is hunting. I found really like immersive.
Me
And
too.
It reminded me of like the Hunger Games when Katniss is talking about like getting all the weapons ready and stuff, and she's hunting.
I liked it. It was very ominous, but it was, for a second I thought, oh, is the crapness of this writing going to overpower? I do think it wasn't like, the writing, I should say, it's not so bad.
So he was as large as a horse.
Okay.
Okay. Checks out. His body was somewhat
big though, right?
like and
Like a little Shetland pony.
Is he like prone?
is he meant to be a horse or is he? Because if a wolf had Like it's like a horse.
A wolf with a really long neck.
It's like if you were really bad at drawing
Okay,
and
no,
tried
hold
to
on.
draw a wolf.
So he was as large as a horse. His body was somewhat feline. His head was distinctly wolfish.
So is he a dog or is he a cat? Which
He
one?
had
Or a horse?
curled elk-like horns
What?
protruding from his head.
Oh.
But lion or hound or elk, there was no doubting the damage his black dagger-like claws and yellow fangs could inflict. So that's a really confusing description of what he looks like in his animal form.
It's like 5 different animals in one.
It definitely seems like one of those, like, draw a part of the picture, fold it
Yeah.
up and give it to the person
Yeah.
next to you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
or like reminds me of like ancient Egyptian, like gods.
Yeah.
And then my fave bit is when he like confronts her, he being the big beast that shows up and calls her a murderer. She's like, no, I didn't kill it. And he's like, no, you did. And she's like, well, can you blame me? But then she's like, even if I had known beyond a doubt, it was still deserved. Oof.
Yeah, she has some real barbs.
Yeah.
And then the beast says, a life for a life. Any unprovoked attacks on fairy kind by humans are to be paid only by a human life in exchange.
And then she's like,
And
well,
she's like,
didn't know about that.
Actually, I didn't know.
Well,
Shit.
ignorance of the law is not a defense.
If
Yeah.
it was me, I would have just offered up one of the family and then
Yeah.
the book would have been
for the dad.
finished.
Who would you offer?
Nesta, I ain't that bitch.
I don't for the
Yeah.
father.
Nesta any day.
I think really where it starts to pick up, like there's a lot of just nothing.
Yeah, of them
and then,
like falling in love.
yeah, is Callan Mai?
Oh,
I have to go
God.
now. And isn't this when Tamlin also rocks up and is like, oh my
Oh,
God,
no.
please don't tell Amanda bitch about her.
No.
No,
that's ages
Callan Mai
later.
is when.
The fiddle.
So
No.
no.
Callan Mai
Oh,
is
shit.
when Tamlin has to fuck someone
Yeah.
to like create the magic.
So Lucian's like, and like takes her back and like locks
Gosh.
her in the room.
I just combined these two.
yeah, no, that's
there's
solstice.
2 different events.
That's the
Is
solstice.
Callan Mai when he comes back
Yes,
and is like
bites her on the neck.
Oh.
Yes, so embarrassing.
So-
because
yeah,
he sensed her at the
he
thing.
could smell her and he couldn't find
But
her. He went insane.
But Lucian had already taken her away, and so he freaks out because he has to bang someone else.
That's right.
And then when he
Yeah.
comes back to the manor,
Ew.
he
And
gets
then-
really
yeah.
mad at her for not listening.
Because she, like an idiot, because
Yeah.
Lucian tells her what's going on.
yeah,
And so then
That's
she
right.
gets really jealous.
yeah,
And then when she sees him coming back, she's like, let me
yeah.
go talk to him. I'm going to stir some shit up.
Yeah,
And then she's like, I don't want sloppy seconds or something.
And then she's like, I'll seek him out because I want him, insult him.
Yeah. And yeah. So then
I don't know
Tamlin,
about you guys, but that's how I hit on people.
Tamlin bites her on the neck and says,
It
says
is very
something
sensual
really
moment.
gross.
I think like so much
Yeah.
of the quote unquote steamy stuff in this was on the cusp of being good, but there was always just like some wording that made it repulsive to me.
Wanted to let you know that I found the part where he bites her.
Oh, please read it to us.
You drove me mad, he growled, and the sound trembled down my neck, along my breasts, until they ached.
That was
Why are
one
they
of my
always
notes. I'm so
aching?
sick of heavy aching breasts.
It's so swollen.
It just reminds me of like a fruit tree that like it's like
Right,
a full
laden.
lemons and they just like the branches are hanging.
Or I just like udders or something.
Yeah.
Milk me.
Yuck.
We need to discuss
Fiddlegate.
Fiddlegate. Yeah.
Okay. Fiddlegate
Fiddlegate
God.
is
Immediate
real.
reaction.
It's not a sexy instrument.
Oh, and I
No.
hate the way she's like, and then I was dancing in front of him while he played the solo, and it's like,
I just picture her
Ugh.
like gurning, just like thrashing around in front of him, like into
Yeah.
clubs.
I feel like he's like alternating like which leg is up in the air, like jumping over the flames like
Oh,
Rumpelstiltskin.
God.
Like
Or it's like an electric violin and he's got a fedora and a goatee all of a sudden.
and a trench coat.
Yeah. He's put down his fedora to chuck some coins in.
So unnecessary. And because he's so proud of it. He mentions he mentions it so much. He's like, he says, I play a mean fiddle. And then he just...
And like when he said that, I was like, oh, that's an endearing throwaway comment. He definitely doesn't mean that.
Not
he
anymore.
means that in like a self-deprecating way. Like, tee, I could play a mean fiddle. Like, that's something I'd say. I can't literally play a fiddle.
But he was trying to bring it up.
That's the thing. Don't mention it. So Feyre's been drinking some fairy wine.
Oh, she is just the worst every time she drinks.
I really think she's an alcoholic. It was like a million fireworks exploding inside me, filling my veins with starlight. I laughed aloud and Lucian groaned. Human fool, he hissed.
But his glamour had been ripped away. His auburn hair burned like hot metal, and his russet eyes smouldered like a bottomless forge. That was what I would capture next. Again with the painting.
I think we really need to talk about it. I thought her painting would be shithouse.
Same.
And then it turns out that she's really good at it and like leaves all the paintings to Tamlin when she leaves.
I don't believe it.
No.
I'm picturing him being like, she's like, yeah, I paint. Like, I'm a painter. And then he thinks, okay, cute, I'll get you some painting supplies. Walks in, sees what she's done, and he's like, that's great, Feyre. We'll hang it on the fridge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still picturing figure paintings.
Yeah, absolutely.
The tempo increased. I wanted to be in the music, wanted to ride its speed and weave between its notes.
I could feel the music around me, like a living, breathing thing of wonder and joy and beauty.
Feyre stopped, Lucian said, and grabbed me again. I'd been dancing away and my body was still swaying toward the pull of the sound.
Lucian is such a prude. He's just like, Feyre, stop, you're embarrassing me. Actually, hang on.
No chains.
I'm on his team.
Yeah.
She should stop.
Lucian...
It is embarrassing.
Lucian is almost never wrong.
I found it.
Because the worst bit is when she's like, one of the musicians looked up from his fiddling and I halted.
And you know what my note is on this page? I underlined the word sweat.
Yeah.
He's a sweaty fiddler.
Sweating from vigorously fiddling.
Yeah.
Also, sweat gleamed on the strong column of his neck. Ew.
Column, like a thick pole.
I'm picturing like straight up rugby.
It's like Shane Webster.
Yeah, he's got like cauliflower ears.
Oh.
He's frothing at the mouth. But then I think, like, I was wondering this as well, if I was a less self-conscious person, would I be as embarrassed reading this? Like the dancing and stuff, or would I be like, yes, get it, girl, free,
true.
Be free?
Well, no, I think the context is important. I don't hate the idea of her dancing for him. It's the fact that she thinks that she's sexy dancing while he's playing the fucking fiddle. Nobody is sexy dancing to a fiddle.
No, never in the history of the world.
And I was also wondering that with the painting as well, because I found that really cringy, but I was wondering if, again, that's because I'm like, you know, hate to take any creative pursuits seriously and like put it out in the world. I'm a painter, I'm a photographer, I'm a writer, whatever. People will be like, that's shit. Maybe.
The other thing that's really weird about this scene, and then I'll shut up and we can move on, is the fact that she is just dancing and dancing and dancing. And he's like, time goes faster. You didn't think to stop her? Like, is she not going to be exhausted from having danced nonstop because she's wasted?
It's like when you're in grade 5 and you went to your first disco when you had like a boy that you were like, crush, and like you just like jumped around all night listening to Flow Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the
Flow
next day,
Rider at the grade 5 disco.
Yeah, man, low. Maybe grade 7.
Yeah. I was going to say, not grade 5.
Probably like Mumbo number 5 or something.
Yeah. Maybe grade 7.
I used to make really embarrassing lists of boys I danced with at the discos.
So funny.
Yeah, so embarrassing.
Why are we the same?
And like my brothers would find them and they'd be like, what's this? Nothing.
My enemies?
It's nothing.
As disgusting as the fiddle is, a few pages over is their first kiss, right?
Yeah.
And that's quite nice.
It's in that really nice clearing bit.
There is also that bit at the end of the kiss as well where she has that little speech that says, my father once told me I should not let my sisters imagine a better world. A better life, a better world. And I told him there was no such thing. And then she's all like, no, I am happier here than I was there, basically. And it feels like maybe she might be experiencing some growth.
Yeah. There's a little hint of personal growth there. Like we did with the character we hate the most in the first book, we should do the character we like the most in the first book.
Okay. Well, okay.
I
Really have to think about that.
Yeah,
God.
I have to think.
I think I'm a bit basic.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Rhysand. Okay, good.
Oh, God. Great.
Because I was going to pick Lucian, and then I remembered that whole bit at the end.
Yeah, that's because we haven't even got to that bit.
Yeah. But Lucian's a very close second.
That's a good segue into the end bit, though.
Yeah.
The first one
The
is
worm.
the worm.
The worm
dome.
itself.
The worm itself.
Would that be the worm of Midgard?
Yeah.
Something Midgard?
Yeah.
Anyway, she fights a giant worm, but she's
Yeah.
pretty crafty because we can't forget, as the blurb tells us, she is a huntress. So
And
she's-
to be fair, I really like that scene.
Me too.
I really enjoyed everything under the mountain.
Me too.
Yeah.
It really took it up a notch.
And I
Yeah.
didn't really guess where things were going. The third challenge is a wild ride. There are 3 like figures in front of her that have hoods over their faces, and basically all she has to do is kill them.
Yeah, kill 3 people and everyone goes free.
But
Their connection.
we should talk about the riddle.
There are those who seek me a lifetime, but never we meet, and those I kiss, but who trample me beneath ungrateful feet.
At times I seem to favour the clever and the fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare.
By large my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet, but scorned I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strikes lands a powerful blow, when I kill, I do it slow. So like straight away, Eryn
Obvious. The
we were like,
second it happened, I knew.
love.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Shit.
Laura did it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever guessed like the answer to a riddle, who the killer is. It didn't even cross my mind.
She had 3 months to think about that.
A line I really hated. I woke up and I was high fae.
Oh, yes.
How does she know? She should have had the ending of this book and the start of the second book makes me so angry because it should have been like, that was something I did enjoy about like my only point of reference, but like Twilight, the adjustment period and how wacky it was for her, and you know, she didn't really know what was going on, or even though she had prepared, she did. It should have been a real shock to her, but she just was like, you know what, I'm good with this. I'm good with this.
Yeah. I would have loved if the book had ended there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because
That's a good cliffhanger.
yeah, I feel like we don't need to know about her trauma yet.
Yeah,
It needs
not
time
at
for
all.
it to sink in. Because I was like, what's the problem? She's got everything she wanted.
Yeah, that's such a good point. That would have been a way better ending. Well, actually looking at this list of Reddit questions that I saw, some of them are questions we've kind of already talked about. First one, though, says general take on Tamlin. Hot or not?
I think hot.
I think hot too.
There were a lot of red flags, missed opportunities, but a lot of cute moments.
Yeah.
And like lots of opportunity, I thought, for like growth.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, all right, like Tamlin's laying down the groundwork. It's looking good. She's going to go save him, etc. Wait, this Rhys guy's here. He seems like a real soft boy. But this could really spice things up. So I really wanted like a good fight. And I was thinking, you know what? I'm loyal. I was trying so hard to find like a hot actor in my head that I could picture as Tamlin, and I was dipping between Henry Cavill in The Witcher and I forget his name.
It's like he couldn't have brown hair because Rhys has black hair, and he couldn't have red hair because Lucian has red hair. Like, it just as if these people can't have the same hair
It really
colours.
does feel like an important point of separation. Though.
Yeah.
Why
Green
couldn't
hair.
he be bald?
Yeah.
Like a baby. Yeah.
And he could have hair that's like grows like seeds, and then you have to cut it off.
Oh my god, like those
gross.
potato things. Those sprout potatoes. But
Time for your harvest.
yeah.
Sprinkle it around the lands.
Yeah.
The
That's
seed
the
is
real
spread.
Callum.
Yeah.
Lucian has long hair in my mind.
Same.
Actually, unfortunately, Lucian was not that hot in my mind.
You know who Lucian is in my mind? Tim Minchin.
Jesus.
Who was he for you, Eryn?
Yeah, no, I don't have a reference for any of them really.
You know who I thought
I'm
would be a
gonna
good
picture
Feyre?
Suspenseful.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you beg for it.
Please, no. You too, Fox Boy. What?
Phoebe Dynevor from
Who's that?
Bridgerton.
Oh,
Daphne.
Yeah. I kind of pictured her in like a similar, I think like maybe the attributes that you were thinking of match with what I was kind of picturing like Alicia Vikander. She's been in so much, and I think she's like the prettiest woman in the whole world.
Yeah.
But there's something about her, like seems a bit delicate, but
She
also
also
very
Phoebe as well,
tough.
actually.
And I don't know. I think Feyre was like such a shell of a human for me. Like when I pictured her, it was like, you know, when you're playing a video game and you can switch the points of view, but there's the one where it's like first person and you just see like this kind of around the eyes. Oh, cupping my hands around my eyes. It's like she barely didn't even need to be there. She was just like a passage into the book for most of it.
Like a skin colour balloon.
Oh my god, maybe Bella Thorne could be Feyre.
Get out.
What's the next question?
Yeah, I didn't find too many good ones, to be honest. Have you got any good ones, Sarah? Because I could pull out a mediocre one and I reckon we could make it good.
There is one here that's, I think, kind of interesting, but maybe bigger than we have mental capacity for at the moment.
No, hit me up.
Well, it's just wanting a deep dive on the stories and myths that the novel draws upon for its structure and why certain elements have been altered.
We were talking about this.
Yes, in the past we've talked about how we think that the author was trying to make it a feminist work,
Yeah,
you know? Like,
we do believe so.
yeah, like Feyre
Yeah.
taking charge of her story and not letting the men, and maybe even having a woman as the villain. Maybe that might be a conscious choice as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I got that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think there are a lot of deliberate choices to make it a more feminist novel, but I also think a lot of choices backfired and made it less feminist than she was hoping for it to be.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the like prevalence put on sex and like innuendo and stuff really takes away from a lot of the other shit, even though it's like more power to her for having sex and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like it's not really handled in that way. It's handled in a way that makes her seem like a prize for all the guys, even when she's not meant to be.
What do you think about Feyre as a character then? Do you think she is a good example of a strong female character? I think off the top of my head, my answer would be yes. It's just pretty independent and she's pretty driven. Yeah, I do think she's a pretty tough character, but I don't know if she's a feminist character. I think she's on the road there, but it is like what you were saying, how she kind of is a prize. She's quite a Mary Sue, hey? Like,
yes.
she's
somehow
just
terrible at everything, but also great at everything.
Yeah. Everybody that meets her falls in love with her, but everybody, like, through her eyes, hates her. She's
just
so
like
unpopular
other
and so
girls.
ugly and so dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many lovers and suitors.
So illiterate.
Yeah. But then everyone is like, oh my God, she's the best ever, the greatest warrior we've ever seen.
Is she?
No. But I do think, if I think back to when I first read it, I think I did think that because you saw her grow from someone who could only hunt and stuff, and then she reached her heights at like defeating Amarantha, but she did that using the skills that she learnt
Yeah.
just from living. But this is another interesting one. So it's about discussing Feyre as a protagonist, with consideration to the fact that her journey and love story are prompted by an unprovoked murder. And does your opinion of that murder change when Alice explains that the fairy that she killed was willing and had begged Tamlin to be sacrificed? And what about the other murderous actions, such as when she sentenced Claire to death and when she murdered the fairies at Amarantha's command, and what impact that has on her position as a heroine? I think considering the first bit, though, I remember thinking she was a bit rough for killing that wolf completely unprovoked. Like,
Same.
even though she needed the pelt and she needed the meat and stuff, but once she found out that it was someone, she showed no remorse.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty interesting. And then when you think that she starts to really benefit after having killed a person, I don't know that finding out that that person wanted to be sacrificed really absolves her of killing them in the first place.
She did talk a lot about when she killed that rabbit as well.
Yeah, like
The
really,
rabbit?
Yeah, the first
like
time
her
she
first
killed
kill.
something.
Yeah.
It really affected her.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Is she just reminiscing throughout the book?
Yeah, she said that she went home and she cried all night.
Mm.
And she felt like her life had taken a different turn after she killed the rabbit.
I was just going to say that's really interesting. I've never thought about the killing of the wolf, and then after she found out it was a fae, and how it didn't eat her up, and especially as she came to be a part of the spring court and stuff, she didn't really think about it twice.
But I think it's interesting because obviously we don't like Feyre, but are we maybe not meant to like her in the beginning, and then we're meant to like her as she like grows
Becomes herself. Maybe she just never had the chance to develop a personality.
Yeah.
Because she was very young when her mother died, I think. So maybe, she went from being a child
to being a caretaker.
Yeah, for the whole family, and then she, doesn't really have any time to develop any interests or opinions or anything like that. She just had to do what she had to do to survive.
I think that's true. That's a much more kind and sympathetic way of looking at it.
But that's a good segue because so Feyre promises the mum that she's going to look after the family, and she really clings to that promise the whole time. But promises are like an ongoing theme throughout the book anyway. Like when Tamlin looks after the family, she feels like she hasn't fulfilled her promise because she hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
And then they all are so focused because she believes that she will fulfill her own promises. She always also believes that of Amarantha. So she gets screwed over by her own logic.
That's true. Yeah.
That, I think the promise to her mum was a good move, because actually I had forgotten about that, and I kept thinking, why is she giving so much to a family that's giving nothing back? But I think that's a good point.
And then it's interesting as well because once Tamlin fixes her family for her, she's got really nothing else to live for. And typically once when you're living for someone else, you typically start living for yourself. But she doesn't. She starts living for Tamlin instead because she's
just looking for somewhere somewhere to settle.
Yeah, because
she can't settle within herself.
Yeah. Like she was so focused on fixing her family. Tamlin fixed the family for her, so she started fixing him instead.
And then fixing herself is too hard.
Yeah,
it's too
not even too
vulnerable.
Hard. It's something she's never had to do before.
No, she doesn't know how to do it.
She's never had the opportunity to do it before.
And probably wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah.
So doesn't think she's worth it, maybe.
Yeah. All she's ever known is enabling others to live their best lives.
Yeah.
Work she doesn't have the tools to do. That's really true. This has been nice. So maybe I've been too harsh on Feyre a little.
I know, that conversation just then made me think, oh, okay, all right.
But the thing is, I think we might have discussed something similar before, and I've thought, oh, that's true. That's a really nice way of looking at it, and then immediately have regressed.
Well, here's an interesting one as well. So Feyre calls herself and Nesta two sides of the same coins. In what ways is this an apt description, and what ways is it not? Factoring in that Nesta went searching with Feyre and was entrusted to keep the family safe from Amarantha, compared to Nesta at the beginning of the novel, who refused to chop wood and took Feyre's money without thanks.
I think that they're more alike than Feyre thinks they are.
That's why they don't get along.
Exactly. And I feel like Nesta probably has a lot of feelings of inadequacy because she's the oldest, and that should be her job to look after, but she doesn't have those skills that Feyre obviously had to teach herself the skills. Yeah. But I mean, there's just something like I would not be able to go out and be hunting.
No.
You know, just yeah. And they're so both of them are so fiery. Like it takes nothing for them to
lose it.
Yeah. And they like dote on Elaine, so they don't want Elaine to have to do the hard work.
I'm just reading this review. Somebody's given it a 2.75 out of 5. It's very precise. But talking about Rhysand. Talking about Under the Mountain, says, now we get to the meat of his role in the novel. He becomes kind of a creepy ally during Feyre's trials. We find out at the end he's been working to take down Amarantha the entire time. Blah, blah, blah. Goes on about his bargains and stuff. And then the second incident, the sexy parties. This is where my biggest issue with Rhysand comes into play. So against her will, he has her scantily clad, covered in paint, paraded around in front of the entire court, gets her shit-faced, and has her act in a humiliating, oversexed way in front of everyone, including Tamlin and Amarantha. When she wakes up in the mornings after, although there are smudges in the paint around her hips and such, he never violates her. I'm sorry, but you don't get a cookie for not raping someone, even though you could. This is not a check mark in the Rhysand is a good guy column.
I agree.
Yeah, I really hated that part.
Yeah. It was unnecessary.
And I think so much of Rhysand's character is them slut-shaming him, and then we find out that he's actually been a sex slave the whole time. And so we feel really bad for him. And later on in the series, it's kind of a big plot point that they feel bad for the sacrifices he made. But we never really look at what happened to her in the same light.
Yeah,
but always
that's true.
like he was sexually abused under the mountain, but so was she. And just because he was an ally, that doesn't make it any better than what he went through.
I sort of wonder if it's because we are reading it through her perspective, because she has no interest in herself.
Yeah, maybe.
Like she doesn't want to think about what happened to her.
Yeah.
She, like what we were talking about before, she would rather fix other people.
Yeah, she doesn't value her own experiences.
Yeah.
She is pretty pragmatic. Like she would definitely be thinking this is what has to be done. Or she could be.
Yeah, like when her mum died, wasn't she like, oh, well, more food for us? Like,
moving on. Yeah,
she's definitely got some trauma.
And yeah, that's true.
It is interesting though, because even if that's the way she looks at it, is that I don't want to say right, but is that the best way to be portraying that as an author? Knowing your audience is a younger demographic.
Yeah. I also wondered that if it was not, maybe not as in-depth as we just read it. Maybe it was just that the author thinks that kind of
maybe a little bit sexy.
Yeah, like coercive control, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Borderline assault fantasy is hot. Like I know definitely in the past I feel like that's been a more predominant theme in romances, like this kind of I think it's really not of the moment.
No.
This was written in 2015?
There's a question here about the key theme of family bonds, such as Feyre's loyalty to her sisters, despite the fact that she doesn't seem to like them, Amarantha's murderous reign due to the death of her sister, which Feyre understands the motive behind, Tamlin's kindness being spurred by his father's cruelty, Lucian's father killing his beloved and his brothers also trying to kill him. So what commentary is the author trying to make on how a person's family determines who they become? I hadn't really admittedly put together that all those people had family issues.
I think that Lucian has the right idea and Feyre doesn't. Like,
as in
cut
like
him out.
abandoning.
I'm gonna do me.
Cut
I'm
him
gonna
out,
thrive. Yeah.
Especially like Nesta. I do kind of like Nesta,
But she would have lost nothing. Like, she was getting nothing from that relationship. It was a promise.
Lose.
Yeah.
But I guess with Lucian's situation, all he really did was go to a different court and fulfill the same role he would have fulfilled at his own court.
Yeah.
Just with someone who isn't abusive to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the benefit of his own happiness, though, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. There's a question here. What do you think about Lucian's relationship with Tamlin? He loves him. That's the only answer I have. So all those book questions that I mentioned came from a WordPress blog called Fun Fandom Blog, written by Audra Miller.
Thank you, Audra.
Great questions.
Audra.
I would never
Thanks
have
for
the
sending them in.
capacity to.
No. Well, I never would have thought nice things about Feyre if not for Audra, so thanks for the emotional growth. Feyre could use some.
Yeah. Thanks, Audra. Okay.
I think overall,
Mm.
I liked it. Even though we just
Nice.
spent all of that time
Oh, yeah, I loved
talking
it.
shit.
We've just slammed
I
it.
just
for the
really
past
enjoyed it.
3 hours.
I think I read it in a day.
Yeah, I
Such a
demolished
legend.
it.
Consumed it, loved it. Had to put it down and walk away, but came back very quickly after.
Came back stronger than ever.
Yeah, once I shook off the image of the fiddle.
Why not? Like a lute would be better than a fiddle.
Anything would
Like-
be better.
Panpipes.
Drums.
Yeah, like-
A one-man band.
And the rating system we will be using today is Wormdongs.
Inspired by the
The chat that's
Isengard worm. What's it called?
Let's leave it at that, I'm not sure.
Middengard.
The Widdengard? The Midden.
Maybe.
The
wire.
worm.
Worm dong, anyway.
The worm.
Worm dong.
How many Wormdongs out of 5? Let me get it out, Eryn. How many Wormdongs out of 5? And what was your favourite scene?
Okay. Am I going first?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It lost a star because of the fiddle.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The
Only
only
one?
reason. Yep. And my favorite scene, I really loved when I loved the whole last challenge. I loved when she had to kill the fairies.
We get it.
And
Like,
I-
killing the fairies is like Order 66.
Oh, no, Eryn, don't. And I loved when she died. And I
true.
loved just going into Rhysand's mind and just like her being made again was so nice. And I don't know. And Rhysand finally was like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I loved that. And I thought it was a great twist. I didn't think it was going to be Tamlin under that hood. I just block out the part about the stone heart. That was dumb.
Yeah.
But everything else, I loved that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That's good. I like that.
What about
Okay.
you, Eryn?
I give it 3 wormdongs out of a potential 5 wormdongs. It was enjoyable, but mainly full of annoying bits that I rolled my eyes at. My favourite scene, I really like when she's hunting the worm, like I said earlier, because it uses the skills she had before she got into the fairy world.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll rejig mine because I was maybe going to pick that one too. I loved it.
Well, pick a different one.
I'll pick my second favourite, I guess.
No. Well, I'll pick a different one and you can have that one.
No, finders keepers.
Sorry.
Wormers weepers.
Oh, God. Okay, your turn, Laura.
I think I also give this 3 wormdongs out of a possible 5 wormdongs. And I think maybe after the worm, my favourite scene would be the first time they kissed. It was so
cute.
nice.
Yeah.
He was very thoughtful, and it was giving me Twilight Meadow vibes.
Yeah,
and
very
it just
gentle.
made my heart sing.
It was lovely.
It was
So
cheesy
romantic.
and sweet, and didn't have too many gross words in it. Nobody was roaring. Nobody had watery bowels.
No
Oh my god,
nostrils
we've done this
flaring.
whole podcast about the watery bells.
I don't understand how.
I don't
Okay,
know.
maybe we could talk about the bit we hated the most.
Watery bells.
Other than the fiddle. Erin, go.
Watery bells. Why were the bells so watery?
Were her bowels watery
so
under the mountain?
frequently.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I think there were at least 5 references to watery bells. Like,
That should have been your only annotations, just highlighting it.
it's too many. It's way too many.
That's,
I don't give
Yeah.
a shit that
It's
you're
a-
about to shit your pants.
I mean, fair enough. Like, it's just too much. It's too much realism. Like, if I was scared,
Yeah.
I probably would be one of you shitting. But I'm not writing home about it.
No.
No, definitely
Just
not.
say, oh, she's really scared, you guys.
My
Like-
tummy hurt.
Oh, God.
Yup, edit it out.
Oh, God.
What's your most hated part?
Yeah. Go.
Most
There's so
hated
many.
part. Actually, I think. Well, one of my most hated parts would be when Rhysand rocks up to the nice cutesy dinner and then reads her mind and reveals the it's so uncomfortable thoughts that she's had, the sexy thoughts, sexy private things. She
So
was
unnecessary for
thinking.
him to do that.
Maybe it was really pervy and gross. I didn't like it.
Yeah, agreed.
I think we're going to keep circling back on the role of women playing a part in the men's battles.
It's a good point.
I think my most hated part was
She's even found
this
it in the book.
quote.
Oh, God.
At least they don't have to resort to rutting in the hay with eyes at kale like an animal. And I just wrote next to it in capital letters, yuck. I hated that so much.
Yes. Also, like,
Ugh.
that is not the way you want to be referring to
it's so
having
gross.
sex with someone.
I don't even
Fancy
know
a
what
rut
rutting
on
means,
sport.
but like
It doesn't. I
Just-
thought it was like.
nose in the ground. Like,
I
It
thought
just sounds like he never got it into
animals,
me.
animals do it like sniveling
well,
around.
what I imagine is a pig like searching for truffles, like on the ground, like that. I hate it.
That's sad.
I hate it so much.
Jesus Christ.
Every time. Oh,
Go.
okay, the last thing we need to do is a quick fire. Do we rate this lit or shit? No time to think about it. On the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Lit.
Wait, do we all say lit?
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow.
Wow. Exposed.
Well, I think even though I talk a lot of shit about it, I think it was a fun journey.
Oh, I
I had
had
a
such
great
a great time. I had such a great time.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're all on the same page, guys.
Yeah.
Well, this has worked out well because we have a lot of episodes to get through. The next book we will be perusing for a bruising is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas, book number 2 of the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. Make sure you subscribe to hear our groundbreaking thoughts as soon as they are unleashed. If you want to be on the same page as us, follow us at talklit.gethit on Instagram and TikTok.